Yeah, 8:56 this morning. There's a conversation we had about that, right? Like, what's the message you're sending out if you pick Murray, and what's the message you're sending out if you pick Cooney? Because it's going to have a knock-on impact from everybody else. It was interesting talking to Killian earlier on. He was like, as a member of the squad, if other players are being treated differently from you, it causes unrest. He was talking about a couple of years ago, didn't name the specific players who were being the more talented players in the group who were being allowed to have time off. That's a very interesting group dynamic, right? And you've got to think about that, because if you pick Murray when there's a growing consensus that Cooney's form is better, then does everybody else who's in the team think, well, my position here is, I'm the incumbent, so I can't be dropped. Whereas actually there should be pressure on everybody.
I think certainly going into this year there has to be the case with a new coach, but also coming off the back of a terrible year. Like, you can somehow have a little bit of sympathy for at the start of 2019 saying, well, Sexton and Murray are safe.
Yeah.
Like, they've put in so much. Sexton is reigning World Player of the Year, for God's sake. He starts no matter what happens in his form in January. But this is a long time since we've seen peak form from a lot of these players. And in contrast to that, we have a player who doesn't have any of the cobwebs of the World Cup, who is arguably the form halfback in European rugby, never mind Irish rugby at the moment. You have to start him. I don't think it's a discussion anymore. And it's up to Conor Murray to work his way back into the squad. And hopefully the success of picking players on form is that sometime a player like Conor Murray can come back to what he was in 2018, which I'm sure a lot of people have a lot of hope that he can achieve that.
I think Conor Murray's going to have a great second half to his career, and I think there's loads and loads and loads of time left for him to do that. But most careers have a bit where you just lose a bit of form, you refocus, whatever happens. There's loads of things that can feed into a second coming. The Lions tour is a great thing for him to look forward to, given that he ended up as first choice the last time. And I've no doubt that he's going to be in the mix for that if he gets his form back. So there's loads for him to look forward to, but also from Andy Farrell's perspective, it is just this injection of chaos into everybody's thinking. It's like, okay, I am not safe. Even if you're Tyke Furlong or James Ryan or Peter O'Mahony, whoever those, you're guaranteed to be in my team, Gary Ringrose, Keith Earls, everybody suddenly goes, Jesus, they dropped Conor Murray. I'm not safe. That's an infection of everybody competing with each other, driving standards, just improving things a little bit. At the start of an era, I think it's a very important thing for him to do.
Hugely important. And then in contrast to that, what message would it send out if he didn't do that? And the feeling amongst the camp was that Cooney was the deserving member in the number 9 jersey. So it can work both ways, but it's just a perfect opportunity for him to do this. And I'm sure Conor Murray would probably get the message as well. He probably realises and he knows what's going on up in Ulster at the moment and the form that's been shown and the chance it is deserving that John Cooney deserves at the moment as well. So it has to be the decision that has to be taken. You go back through Irish rugby and the undroppables throughout the years, Murray is as close as you get.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
It's O'Driscoll and Sexton and O'Connell, and they're probably just an inch ahead of Conor Murray in this regard.
Tyke Furlong, you'd say, just got there.
But this is still a huge call. You can't overstate what it is to drop Conor Murray. But
exactly, but the pressure is that if you come off a defeat against Scotland, who we hammered in the World Cup, and who we generally kind of account for unless our bus is a bit late. It's a slow start to your career coaching Ireland. So what do? You want a safe team who are going to go out, scratch out a win, and then you move on. Or, so Brendan Fanning was running at the weekend that he wouldn't be surprised to see Stuart McCluskey play for Ireland, that McCluskey was one of those whose faces didn't fit really under Joe Schmidt. He's been playing very well. Could you see McCluskey playing in the centre for Ireland? Are you radical and you pick... so your backline could be Cooney, Ross Byrne, Henry and McCluskey, and then Conway on one wing, Larmour at fullback, and Stockdale on the other?
Well, leaving out the form midfielder in Ireland and Gary Ringrose would be one hell of a decision.
It would be, but so maybe put Ringrose in. I don't know. How radical are you? And you're thinking in your first game, or are you I'm going, Sexton's fit that week, He's back in. I'm going Murray, Sexton, Henshaw, Ringrose, Stockdale. Who's my fullback?
Here's the question as well.
Conway and Larmour on the wing.
Will Addison, though? Will Addison will be putting his hand up as well at the moment. Like, you talk about John Cooney. You've raised McCluskey there. It's been written about in the newspapers for the last few days. Will Addison is also in that bracket. The Ulster boys who are really pushing for a starting spot in this Irish team. It's great. Jacob Stockdale's form is back. He probably has locked down a wing spot at this point. I would say himself and Gary Ringrose are the two.
Addison.
No, Stockdale. And Gary Ringrose are the two locks at the moment.
Where does Larmour play?
In Ireland's backs. For me, Jordan Larmour edges Will Addison for the full-back position. Just about. Like, it's a fascinating...
Put Larmour on the wing because he can play there.
He possibly could do that.
Or do you play him full-back because, like, come on.
And then you've got a really exciting back three, but is it exciting because it's new, or is it exciting because it'll actually deliver results in a very attractive manner?
And do you pick all these players in their first game, which is your first game, or do you go, okay, so it's obviously not Addison's first game, but like, you know, first game as a starter properly. You're saying, you're my guy. Today, I need to win this match because it's a big deal for me, big deal for the country, big deal for our new era when I'm trusting you. Do you do that? Maybe you do, and he's your guy forever then. As in, he'll die for you after that.
Okay, he'll die for you. I'm not sure is he your guy forever. Like,
I mean, he's always wedded to you. I'm not saying that you're wedded to him, but he is wedded to you. He's like, yeah, okay. John Cooney, if John Cooney gets picked, he thinks the greatest coach in the world, in the history of the world, is Andy Farrell, and he will do anything for Andy Farrell for the rest of his life. His first child is going to be named Andy, even if it's a girl. Like, that's the type of thing. So and he's got to make these relationships with these players.
He does. Like, it's great that Scotland is first up, is it not?
What?
It's great that it's Scotland first up. Like,
yeah.
what I'll just like, I know I've got a bad record of getting
Italy would have been perfect.
Getting stuff played back to me after bad Six Nations predictions. But I'm going to go with this one and say,
go on, piss on Scotland.
It's a good thing that Scotland are first up. We have an excellent record when buses don't get stuck in traffic over the last 5 to 8 years or so.
And we should know the bus route really from the Shelbourne to the Aviva, right? It's games in Dublin, right?
It is.
It is, yeah.
So
we'll be grand. We know the Gardaí. That's the thing. We didn't know the Scottish cops. That was the thing.
It will be grand. That always works out well at the start of a Six Nations.
Yeah, right. So we're going to be speculating wildly on who's going to be starting for Ireland in the Six Nations quite a lot over the next while.